There we go.
Real good. Anyway. They went to supper, man. They never started.
You have to come at 9 o'clock, man. This is almost 12.
That's right.
It's lunchtime.
It must have been good. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, almost the afternoon, but good morning is still appropriate. I'm Rabbi Shlomo Furst. I'm substituting for Rabbi Reuven Levitt, who's now collecting money in America for the yeshiva. Anyone who can assist him will be, his assistance will certainly be appreciated and rewarded greatly. And here we are at Yeshivat Samanachshi in Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh, located on Rehov Zikron Yaakov number 6 in the Hanukkah Yeshivas building, not too far away from the central bus station, so therefore you can walk, bus, drive if you have a car, and if you're coming from Chutz La'aretz, you can join us for our sharing, and we'd be happy to assist you when you're learning in any way you suggest. We'll be able to help you, Mitzvah Hashem. That's what we're here for. And now we're continuing with the Gemora in Bava Kama, Daf Mem Gimel Amid Aleph, coming to the close of a sugya. Gemora is going to now give a teretz to a question that was asked that we had asked the Gemora had asked a question on a Reish Lakish based on a brisa. Rabbi and Rabbi Yochanan had given terutzim that the brisa is not a kasha to Reish Lakish because we're talking about a gerusha, so therefore the question of the brisa fell off. So now the Gemora asks, well, why couldn't Rabbi and Rabbi Yochanan both explain the brisa in a different way, which would not be apparently so limited as saying the brisa would be a specific case of a gerusha. Rabbi and Rav Nachman, both according to their opinions about what the essence is of a Yerusha. What is that in terms of a halva, and specifically, which is the Gemora in Baba Basra, which we'll have to deal with when we get to the teretz of the Gemora, the eventual teretz, and when it comes to paying tsar and nezik, which is also a type of a debt which is owed to the heirs of a woman who was deceased not because of the assault which caused the miscarriage, but rather she died of some other cause, and therefore the heirs are due the nezik and tsar for the assailant of the cause of the miscarriage. So now the Gemara, that's what we'll read right now. We've done this many times before. We're going to just try and focus on the final teretz of the Gemara, unless of course there are any questions previous to that. But just let's start again from the Gemara with Nukma, that's 6 lines down from the top of the Amid, Mem Gimel Amid Aleph.
Bottom line, is it actual or potential?
Yes, that's what we call Rui, which is potential, or Muksat, which we call actual assets. And as to whether or not the inheritors get that, and specifically whether Bechor with his Pishtayim, what we call his double portion that the Bechor would get, that would only be something which is Muksat, but something which is Rui, only potential, a Bechor would not get. So that will be the nafkamina, the consequential difference in halacha as to whether or not a Bechor will get his Pishtayim from an outstanding debt that falls to the heirs, and how you look at a debt. Is it part of the estate and an actual asset, or it's only a potential income that the estate could eventually get? That will bring us to the Gemara. Nukma, Rabba, Kigon. Any volunteers to read? Have to pick somebody?
Start this one.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, please. Nukma, there's 6
The
lines.
Nukma, and it was established by Rabba. In Rabba's opinion, Kagon Shegavu Ma'ut, when they paid with money.
You actually go with collect. Meaning the Beis Din collected, Gavu, collection. A collection took place by the Beis Din, meaning after the demise of the woman who had previously miscarried, the woman now went to Olam HaEmes after Me'ev Esrei Shana, and she left an estate to the Yorshim, her inheritors. Now, the Tsar Nezek, which was due to her previously, that was collected in the form of mois, money, cash money, according to Rabbah, and Rav Yochanan, it was collected in a different way. Go ahead.
Nachman collected the karka with land.
Right. So the Beis Din collected the land instead of money. They collected the land. Now, in both cases, now the question is, does the Bechor get pishtayim of these collected lands or caches, these assets? Right.
This is from the Chovel? This is
Yeah,
the-
this
is
no, no, no.
the
The
content of
Gemora, the Gemora is referring us is making a comparison to the Gemora Bava Basra, which is talking about a debt, an outstanding milva bishtar. There was a halva, a loan that was given out by in this normal case, the father gave out money as a loan to somebody, and before it was collected, he went to Olam Emes, and therefore the payment was made of the loan either in terms of cash payment of the loan or land payment of the loan. And in that is the discussion, the malachokos between Rabbi and Rav Yochanan as to whether or not the Bechor gets pishtayim of the loan payment.
How do we compare that to the Nizakim?
That's the basis of the Gemora's comparison. Meaning they're both outstanding debts. One was a debt that was made because of a loan. One was a debt because he damaged. Yeah, because
So
it was
he, the
damaged.
Chovel is chayav.
Chovel is chayav.
He's obligated to pay off to the woman's heirs.
Yes.
Is it crucial that the Beis Din collects it? Is that an element that's very...
I'm not sure if it's crucial. No, it may not be crucial. It may be just the same if they came forward on their own and gave money or they gave karka. Pashtus the same.
Someone has to be responsible for it.
Yeah, well, obviously the borrower is responsible for paying his loan, and in our case here, the assailtant is assailant. Assailant is responsible to pay his the damages he caused and the suffering he caused
To the Yorshim.
to the Yoshim, because the woman's not around anymore.
So if the Yorshim collected by themselves, or they use the Beis Din, that's not a...
I don't think so. I don't think that's something which needs a little bit more.
Because you would think that if the Beis Din, the court comes and say this is the money you owe, it has more chashivas than just Mendel says I'm a Yorish and I want this money. I would think it's a stronger case.
No, it's obviously something which is done through the auspices of Beis Din is going to be have more authority to it. Yeah, for sure, definitely. Nevertheless, you still, nevertheless, you still see that it's the question is whether it's muksuk or roy, even though the Beis Din did collect it. I mean, that would be the strongest form of collection. And nevertheless, you still see there's a question as to whether or not the Bechor collects his pishtayim or not.
Why would that be a question?
No, well, that was because only in the case of Mos or in the case of Karka, each Rabbi and Rav Nachman, respectively. Yeah. Okay, continue. Let's go far and see. Now this is basically a quote from the Gemora there in Bava Basra.
The Omer Rabbi says, Gavu Karka, if he does collect land from inheritance from his father.
In the Rashi now?
No,
Gemora. Yeshlo, if he then, there is to him, he does get the Bechor does get the Pishnayim, if it's a land situation. Land is, what is it, because of a loan, it's Mishubad, so therefore it's coming to him. So it's coming to him, it's like it's considered Musach, and he does get it.
Right, as Rashi explains, since the loan, the Karka, was mortgaged, was collateral for the loan from the very beginning at the onset, so that means that the father had some tfisa, had some hand in the karka originally from the time of the loan. Therefore, even at the time of his decease, he had that as part of his estate. So if he had it as part of his estate, that's considered something which is muksuk, and therefore, according to Rabbah, the Bechor will get pishtayim. But Mos is different.
Gavur Mos, but he had money, this is according to Rabbah, Amo, he doesn't get pishnayim, because he's holding the money that he had before, and the money he gets back at the end is something different. It's not the same money, so that's considered roli.
Right, so since the money is completely different money that was lent out, obviously that was not part of the estate at the time of the demise of the father. That's something which is new coming to the estate.
use the term, isn't money fungible? Money could be this coin or that coin.
Correct.
You know, that's the standard.
Correct.
So why is it such a big chiddush to say that it's not part of this thing?
I would say, in trying to understand Rabbah a bit, the Rabbah is learning that there has to be some type of a actual connection to the object, whether it's karka or money, at the time of the father's demise. Meaning as follows: the karka, there was some connection to the karka at the time of the demise of the father. Why? Because it was a mortgage, a collateral, a lien in the karka of the borrower. In terms of money, there was no collateral, no lien on the actual money of the borrower. Of course, the money that the borrower has is and should be used to pay for the debt, right? But there's not a actual
It's a matter of
mortgage.
It's a matter of the physical thing. The karka existed before and exists after. The karka did not go away, but the money that he had before on the milva, on the loan, that he had loaned money, not about the karka on it. He spent that money, so he's replacing with other money. So the actual, it's a different thing. It's not the actual money.
Yeah,
It's
well, I
different.
said earlier, but money is money, no matter, you know.
So it should be just the opposite.
So that's
Right.
why.
Money's money.
Rav Nachman's going to say not going to say
Rav Nachman's
that.
gonna say
Oh,
that.
but
That's what Rama says.
Yeah, but to add a little bit, you give me a little bit of a better understanding. When you look at the time of the demise of the father, right? So the borrower had land, correct? That land was in existence, right? So that land, which was in existence at the time of the demise of the father, already was attached somewhat to the estate of the father. Whereas, let's say money, not necessarily did at the time of the demise of the father would the borrower have money. Maybe he had not a penny in his pocket.
His
Maybe
bank
he had-
account was empty.
His bank account was there, so there may not have been any actual attachment to any
Cash-
money,
cash
cash attachment to anything to the estate of the father at that time. Maybe yes, maybe not, but the karka certainly so. Okay, this is Rob's understanding. Rav Nachman is going to disagree and hold, in fact, the complete opposite. Okay, Rav Nachman
Rav
over.
Nachman here says, Gavo Moas Yeshlo, that if he collects the money from him, then he would get the Pishnai.
Right,
Gavo
Gavo-
Kargo, Ein Lo.
Ein
So
Lo.
he's holding the reverse situation in that he gave him money at the beginning and he's getting money at the end. So money is money. So therefore it's the same thing. So that should be considered muchzak. It's the same situation.
Right, the father had, in this case, let's say the father had taken money out of his pocket and loaned it to the borrower. And so the money that's coming back, it might be different money, different serial numbers on the bills, but it's in essence the same type of thing, which was lent.
Could you say it has the same value? But then there's the question if the money went up.
Well,
or not.
yeah, that's the song, but the karka would have the same value too. They can't extract from the borrower more than the value of the loan. So even if it's going to be karka is simply going to be a shavius, a worth, an equivalent worth of the money loan.
This money loan is there a star?
Yeah, what Rashi says before, it's going by a loiva b'shtar. Because why do we have the good question? I think you're asking us as far as why do we have to understand this to be talking about a case where there is a milva b'shtar, as Rashi says clearly milva b'shtar, because there is no shibud karkos with the milva balpeh. I'll explain what if shibud karkos is basically this lien, this mortgage of the land to the payment of the loan, and it's only going to be a shibud karkos if it's a milva b'shtar. Why? Because a star will have edim on it, and if there's edim, there'll be a call. It'll be public knowledge that a loan is taking place. Therefore, once you have public knowledge that the loan is taking place, people will know that so-and-so borrowed money, and they will know that so-and-so borrowed money. Any karka that someone would come to buy from so-and-so, they will know that there is, especially if it's with a star, they'll know there's a collateral, there's a mortgage on this land that they're buying. So if they're going to buy such land, they have to realize they shouldn't pay the full price, or they should make certain legal
They should check the title, as they say.
Exact, check the title, and they should realize if there's any lien on the karka, right? So, but if it's a milvah bal-peh, even though really in theory everything is meshubed to pay the loan. When a person borrows money, he's obligating himself to pay back the loan. Person with good faith lent him money, he should pay back in good faith, right? Whether he has the money or not. If he doesn't have the money, he'll have to sell his karka or give karka in his exchange. If he has metaltalin, car, furniture, he has to sell his furniture, has to sell his car, whatever he has to do to pay back the loan, he should honestly endeavor to pay back the loan. He got the loan honestly, and the lender lent him the money honestly, he should honestly pay it back. Right? But if it's bal-peh, someone who will come along and buy land from a person, well, he may not necessarily know that there was a loan and a lien, and this land is used as collateral for the purchase.
How's
for
everybody
the
know
loan.
if there's star? How would everybody know?
Because there's 80 on the star.
Eidim.
Since there's 80 on the star, there's testimony that 2 80 sign on the star. So these 2 80, right, make it public knowledge. Now it's public knowledge that such a loan is taking place, and therefore you can assume that the word would get out in one way or another that there was a loan, and therefore the karka of this person is collateral if the loan won't be paid back by with cash.
How do you transfer ownership of karka?
Chazaka, or with a kinyan,
How
and a
do
star.
you make a kinyan on a piece of land?
That's a whole Gemora in Heskes Abatim. Heskes Abatim, L'shlosh Shonim. You have to. If you don't have a star, right? First of all, you have to have a deed. The deed is basically going to be a proof that you own the land. Okay? But besides the deed, you have to make a kinyan on the karka, right? Kesef is not going to be sufficient. You have to pay kesef. You're paying money to the owner of the land to convince him to let you have your land. You want to buy a house. How are you going to convince a fellow to give you his house? You give him enough money, he's happy to give you the house and transfer title to you.
But you have to use it, right?
Right, you have to use it. Stamshus. And under 3 years, that's in order that you shouldn't have, if you lose the star. So really the star is a proof. So you have the star as proof of that you own the land, but you have to in fact make a kinyan. You have to make a kinyan.
But here we're saying that there's a star on karka and there's a star on Movavi. Well, so yet there's a big chiluk days, which is more value, which is more pleasure. That's the...
So karka is more chashuv than not.
Yeah, I mean, there's benefits and drawbacks for both things. For example, money, it's you can pick up and go anywhere you want with your money, right? With karka, you're bound to it. On the other hand, karka is not going to run away from you. You can always get hold of it. It's always there, right? Money could come and go. That's the same thing with tatalin. Chattel can come and go.
When it comes to the Hanukkah light, you learned that earlier,
Yeah.
that you can't count your karka in the light of the Hanukkah.
You can't count
And
the money.
you can't count your moros either.
Right.
How do you count your karka? In the light of the, I don't know.
Some people are very happy to count
They take out the deeds, they look at it, they have, I own this piece of property in Times Square.
Okay, so that was the Gemora. They have the Machlokas Rav Nachman and Rabbah. Okay, so now, why? That's the Gemora says. Why couldn't they each explain our brisa that we asked as a question to Reish Lakish? Explain each one according to their own understanding of what a payback of a loan entails in terms of whether it's muksak or roy. So what is the teretz? Let's continue on with the Gemora.
Just finishing up, we said the money he gave, money he has to give back money, and also the karka, it doesn't count because the karka wasn't in his possession at that time, at the time of his death. So therefore, that's considered karka to be rui. So in this case, this is Rav Nachman saying the Mos is muchzak and the karka is rui.
And how do we understand Rav Nachman to tell us that the Mos is muksak? How is the Mos considered by Rav Nachman to be in the possession of the father within his estate?
He had money when he left. And at the end, he has to give money at the end. So it's money and money.
It seems to be just like Rashi says, "Kidamuksak dami." Rashi says, "Rav Nachman Movavi Mos yeshlo kidamuksak dami." He doesn't say He doesn't say muksak. He says kut. It's similar to being muksak. Shari Mois Hovo Avihem Umos Nitlu. His father lent out money, and most money was taken, right? So even though there'll be different monies being paid back, but the mois was lent, and the mois will be taken back. So it's a sort of the same type of object. Since it's the same type of object, it's similar to being muksa. Okay, that's Rav Nachman in his understanding of whether it's miksuk or roy. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the two opinions of Rabbi and Rav Nachman. Okay, let's continue.
Amri.
Now this is an answer.
The answer is Amri. They said, Hanimili, these words are B'nei Marava, Liba de Rabbanan. That these are according to the people in Israel, according to the opinion of the Rabbanan. They say that follows the Rabbanan's opinion.
Okay, so there's the answer is as beginning as follows. Amre, the answer to the base measures, Hanimili, meaning that discussion, machlokus between Reish Lakish and Rav Nachman in the Gemora and Bava Basra, that is in the opinion of the Bnei Morav, those the Chachamim of Eretz Yisrael, according to the Rabbanan, according to the majority opinion. Okay, so that was a specific answer that was given according to the halacha. We'll see Rashi's in a few moments. Rashi will explain further that there was a halacha that was sent from Eretz Yisrael to Bava, and basically that halacha, Rashi will tell us, is that they said the Bechor will accept Pishnayim in the Milva, that means the principle of the loan, but in terms of Ribis, right, he does not get Ribis in terms of Pishnayim. Okay? We're talking about, most generally, we're talking about there was a loan to a goy, therefore you could collect Ribis. So any Ribis that's collected, the Bechor will not collect Ribis of Pishnayim.
Only actual.
Right? Right. But the principle, yes. So in that we had the, according to the opinion of the Rabbanan. So that was where Reish Lakish and Rav Nachman made their opinions about Ki Amri Hacha. When we're speaking about over here, Gemora says,
When we say here,
What's over here?
our Gemora,
The Gemora.
meaning they gave the teretz of Gerusha. Why did Rab and Rav Nachman give a teretz of Gerusha? Right, because we're talking about over here according to
it's Karebi.
Kerebi. We're talking about Kerebi, who the Rebbe is the opposing opinion with the Rabbanan in the Gemora and Bava Basra. Rashi is going to explain all the details about this. So, so basically, generally speaking, the teretz of the Gemora is as such that here you can't apply the reasoning and the halachas of Rab and Rav Nachman that were spoken out in the Gemora and Bava Basra by the Holva, because that was according to a specific opinion of the Rabbanan in the Shita of the Bnei Morava of Eretz Yisrael. And our Gemara is talking about a different approach based on the approach of Rebbe in that Gemara and Bava Basra. So Rebbe was arguing with the Rabbanan and Bava Basra, and this sugi over here is talking about the approach of Rebbe, which we'll see in Rashi how that actually fits in. Let's see the Rashis.
The Bnei Marava, is that the standard lesson of the Gemara when they speak about it as well?
Sometimes it's not. It's referred. The Eretz Yisrael is referred to many times as Marava, the Mar,
The East.
the East. Because in Bavel,
West, because it's west of Bava.
yeah,
The West.
Mar,
It's the west of Bava.
Arab East.
Right. So Bavel, they looked, when they looked west, they were looking towards Eretz Yisrael. They saw the sun setting, so they
But
looked.
that's what they looked to Yerushalayim when they died, right?
I imagine so. Very true. True.
From where?
From Bava.
Well,
From America.
Yeah.
No, East. Oh, yeah, okay. You know,
And should Sadiban from the Pacific, from that land.
So Amrei, what is Amrei?
That's the lush. That's a plural lashon. It's a lashon rabim, Amri referring to the answer that was given in the base medrash, right? A group of Talmidim in the base medrash, they arrived at this explanation. Okay, we're ready to begin Rashi's. Any general questions?
Don't have any generals. The general was the previous year.
Yeah, that was the general's previous. I don't know if you call him. I don't know if you call him a king. A general might get have to call him a king. I think no, you can't call him a king a general. Anyway, okay. Let's Amri. We have the Gemora. It's about 10 lines up from the bottom of the short lines, perhaps. Amri Hani Mili.
Amri Hani. They said that these words, the flow Rabba Nachman b'yesh Nachman.
Nochli.
This is on where there's this disagreement between Rabba and Rav Nachman in Yesh Nachlim, which is in Bava Basra.
Right. So the explanation, the teretz of the Gemora is based on the fact that the opinions of Rabba and Rav Nachman, those are opinions that were expressed there in the Gemora in Yesh Nochlim, which is going to be, as we're going to see now in the next Rashi, an essentially different sugya, a whole different chapter, a different topic that was being discussed. Not only the topic was being different, meaning that was talking about a milva b'shtar, a loan that was taking place on a document, and here we're talking about a Yerusha, an inheritance, but it's also a completely different, what we call manda omer, a whole different opinion. That opinion that they were expressing their opinions in was the opinion of the Minei Marava according to the Rabbanan. And our Gemora is a different opinion entirely, so it's not fair to try and force those opinions of Rab and Rav Nachman here, there, over to, and transpose them to our Gemora over here. Let's see more in the Rashi. Aliba dere b'nei Marava.
Okay, according to the B'nai and Marav, according to the people in Israel, the Shalchu, that they sent them this answer, B'chor notel pishnayim b'malva v'lo ribbit. The B'chor does take the pishnayim on a loan, but not on any appreciation from that loan.
Right, as the Gemora says over there, they in Bavel, they received the communication from the B'nai Marava, and the following halacha. It was a straight halacha. They sent to Bavel from Eretz Yisrael, Bechor noitel pishtayim b'milva v'lo b'ribis. That a Bechor, in the inheritance of a star, of an outstanding loan, the principal, he will collect his double portion, but he does not collect his double portion in the ribis that's accrued. Okay, period. That was the
What kind of
Allah.
ribis could be then?
Ribis is not meaning that you're getting interest on a loan.
No,
Ribis
but
means
karka,
that
we said karka last time, we said karka could be, he was growing corn over there, and that's, he got the money from, that's the ribis.
No, but
that's shvach. There's another thing called shvach.
Keperos.
Shvach period. But here,
The ribis, he's, the
Ribis.
land, that's the land, that's where the corn is, right? But when they're not talking about what the corn on the land, they're talking about the karka, right?
there was a milva b'shtar. The father was in his lifetime. He lent out money with his star. Okay, now Pashtus, you have to understand the Gemara is talking about he lent out to Nachri. It's mutter. It's mutter. It's maybe even a mitzvah according to some. The lend beribis for Nachri, right? So therefore, he lent out a nice amount of money. Fritz came to the father. They asked him, "Hey, I need $1 million," right? So as far as yeah, very good. You know, we lend with ribis around here. You know, we're a banker, right? He says no problem. You know, anywhere I go in the world, I have to pay ribis. No, you're no different than anybody else, right? So fine. So okay, 20%, right? No problem. So he takes the loan of $1 million at 20%, right? Compounded quarterly, daily, whatever that's technical, right? So the father met his demise one way or the other, and he left this star with the estate. So now Fritz comes with his $1 million and 200,000 plus, right? And he wants to pay back. So he says the heirs of the father say, of course, give it to us. So now The only question remains is now how do you divide up this in terms of the Yerusha? So the principal, according to the main Marava, the principal, $1 million, Pishtayim goes to the Bechor, and then you split the rest amongst the rest of the sons. What about the Ribbis? Everyone gets that equal. That's the halakha according to the main Marava. Okay.
Well, but B'nai Reuven, but there's still this argument here. That's one.
No,
That's one piece. That's one piece.
That's only one half, right?
That's
It's
the
a
Rabbanan
it's a
half.
double makkah, because if you look at the Gemora there,
That's
it's
the
a double
Rabbanan half.
makkah.
That's the Rabbanan half
Yeah,
of it. That's not necessarily the Rebbe disagrees with it. That's the whole
Yeah,
point. That's the flow,
Yeah.
the disagreement on it.
Good,
Because
go ahead.
the Ukmina,
Ukmina,
the Liba de Rabbanan, because this is established according to the Rabbanan,
Right.
the Pligi Alei Rabbi, that they disagree with the opinion of Rabbi. The Amrei that they said, this is the Rabbanan said, Ein Bechor Notel Pishnayim Bishvach.
Shvach.
That the Bechor doesn't take the Pishnayim of the appreciation of the land.
Right, so
Sheshavacho Nechasim, that its appreciation of its property, La'acha Mita Avim, after the death of its father.
right, so
So this is saying, he had a property. The property was worth $1,000 before the father died, and when they finally got around to sell it, it was worth $1,200. So the extra $200, that's not a Pishnayim factor. That extra $200, that extra the shvach part of it is not the doesn't. That's the Rabbanan's opinion.
right, so you have this Maklokas the Rabbanan and Rebbe. So you have Nechasim, whatever Nechasim it might be, and there's the actual value at the time of the demise of the father, that specific value, and then you have a value which increased after the Misa of the father. Okay? Very simply, if you're talking about Karka, you have land, and it was fallow at the time of the deceased of the demise of the father, and then the crop grew on the land. Now, when it came time for the division of the inheritance, there's a crop there, and the land might be worth more because of the crop being there, and then you also have the value of the crop, right? So you have the value of the crop and also the value of the land plus the crop, and you have that in contrast with the value of the land at the time of the demise of the father. So the Rabbanan say that Ein Bechor Notel Pishtayim B'Shvach Sheshvach L'Nechasim Acher Misas Aviyah. The Bechor does not receive any Pishnayim, no double portions, and any increase in value of the properties after the demise of the father. Meaning, whatever it was worth at the time of the demise of the father, that's what the Bechor gets. Everything else that increased in value for whatever reason, whether land prices went up, there was a crop that grew, right? Whatever it was, there was a meteor with kryptonite that landed on the property, right? Whatever happened to happen, right? They discovered oil underneath there, whatever might be happening, that could be muksak. Let's leave the oil, discovery of oil, that's another shaila.
But this is worth another, it's not worth that now.
There's an interesting rule in America, which not everybody knows. When seniors own a building, they bought a house 40 years ago, and they paid $100,000, that was worth $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If the seniors sell it in their lifetime, they have to pay tax on the appreciated value.
Mm-hmm.
But if they give it as a Yerusha to the children, then the children get what they call a stepped-up value. The children's Yerusha now is worth $1 million, and if they sell it for $1 million or anything around that, they don't have to pay any taxes, which could be a big
That's a big savings.
A big savings could have a big influence. So, but this is our fuch of that it is appreciated up until the death, and then now you're starting your basis, which they call for tax purposes, from the higher value. Which apparently, at the time of the Gemora, there was no taxes, right? There were no taxes.
Yeah, sure.
And the Jews, they always taxes.
Or whatever. Nothing taxes, you can't get
All
away
kinds
with it.
of always.
Where's the source that Jews had to pay taxes?
I'll give you one example.
Okay.
There was the Mos Chitim that were noted for beginning of Rosh Chodesh Nisan, that there was a tax.
That was compulsory?
Yeah, Mos Chitim.
I thought it was voluntary.
No, Mos
Oh,
Chitim.
maybe for Yemena or so?
I think Chazal says someone who doesn't pay is Kilu Shofet Damim. Very serious.
Where's the chitim?
Mos Chitim. Money for wheat.
For poor people.
Yeah, that you should have, we
And the
wanted to
Hasidic
make
also
sure,
have
For the poor, for the poor.
we want to make sure people, the poorest people should have wheat, that you should have flour to make matzahs on Pesach.
They also had to pay, there was things that they.
Matzahs a shekel, how do we look at matzahs a shekel? Was that tax or not? That's in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, matzahs a shekel. Was that tax or not?
It was a requirement to tax to the Torah. So the way tax exists, I don't know. So maybe this is more manageable, but okay.
You have to pay.
But it definitely could be honest.
But the Mishnah talks about how the money had to be used, and it's now coming after at this time of year, in the winter. The reason why it's a dar is after the winter the roads got ruined and you had to repair the roads and repair the buildings of the town and stuff like that, the money it was a communal fund. So you can call it whatever you want to call it. If you don't, Arnona, or if you're from Israel, that's our real estate tax here was called Arnona.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay, so whatever, but it's the same idea.
Where's the mucker for the word Arnona? Does anybody know?
I think it's a Muslim Gemora. Yeah, there's such a thing that they, by,
It wasn't the politicians
no,
in the Eretz Yisrael made up the Arnona? It's been from time to the Gemara. Wow. Very interesting.
yeah, I think it's a Muslim Gemora. Okay, let's continue. Again, Rashi explained that the Gemora there is talking about leaving the Rabbanan, the Pligi Allah, the Rebbe. Rebbe argues on that the Rabbanan say, Ein Bechor Notel Pishnayim B'Shvach. The Bechor does not receive a double portion in the assets that increase, appreciation. Sheshachru Nechasim Acher Mislavim, that they appreciated the properties after the demise of the father. Rebbe, go ahead.
Rebbe, but if it's Rebbe, Afilu berided nami shakio pishnayim.
Oh.
The shvacha, a mela.
The Melahu.
The melahu. So the
Period.
Rebbe is the opposite. Rebbe says that even when it comes to the appreciation, which is called reading, shvacha reading is using interchangeably here. He does take the Bechor does take pishnayim from it.
Right. You see, ribbis is a type of shvach.
It comes automatically along with it.
Right. Ribbis is a type of shvach. I mean, you can have shvach coming from very different things, land values, all kinds of different things, crops growing. That's considered shvach, some type of appreciation. How did it appreciate? Could be ribbis also. The fact that the ribbis was accumulated, right? That was an appreciation of the principle of the loan, right? I'd have a savings bond. I don't know if they have them anymore, but no. That was a good thing when it's time. But all these things there was a principle. The basic amount that was there, which everyone agrees that would be muksak, and then you had the appreciation, the interest of developing, the appreciation through other value changes, and that would be considered the general shvach. And ribbis is just one type of shvach. So Rebbe is of the opinion that even ribbis, the bechor gets pishtayim. If it's a shvach the memelu, if it's a shvach which is automatic, meaning, for example, let's say crops. You might have to put in a lot of effort and expenses to have crops grow on the field. You have to water, fertilize, plow the field in order to get a crop, right? So a shvach which will not come mamela, even Rebbe may be in agreement that shvach which is not mamela, there is no peace time. It's only a shvach which is the mamela, some type of appreciation of the assets of the father that appreciate automatically. That's what Rebbe would say that the Bechor should get peace time. And of course the Rabbanan of Alibi the B'mei Morava say no, they do not get any shvach, only the principle.
So the shvach is like an automatic increase of value?
No, shvach is appreciation, right? You have several things here. Ribis is interest on a loan, right? Then you have shvach.
Yeah.
Shvach is appreciation of value.
Right.
That could be from a series of different causes, right? And then you finally have the machlokis based on whether or not it's a shvach de mamela or not. Shvach de mamela, an automatically occurring appreciation, or something that appreciated for some other reason. Economic conditions, that could be automatic also. That could be, mamela could be like without any intervention.
The Yomeda Rivers is a very strict concept. And there are hundreds of sperm are written about rivers, and even avak rivers, if it has a slight influence. and we have to be careful. It's an usher to take, but nobody's writing about the shvach, the appreciation of the land or the crops. Everybody's concentrating on ribbis. I'm just curious why.
Well, ribbis is the yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Shvach is a good thing. Shvach you can get. Shvach you can
Appreciation,
yeah.
increase in value.
Yeah, that's relevant to the
Increase in value.
Yeah, increase in value.
Memela is an automatic increase in value.
Well, there's two types. One can automatically increase. Well, like for let's say I do renovations on my house. So my house is what originally was worth $1 million. Now it's worth $1,500,000 because I painted the outside. I redid the floors. I did put a new roof. So that's a shvach. I maybe only put in $100,000, but now it's worth $1.5 million, right? So that's a shvach, but it didn't come a mela. Something I had to do. I had to paint. I had to renovate, right?
New kitchen, etc., etc.
You could have crops that were around at the time of the father's death, and that the crops were on there, and then when we went to market, there was a shortage and the crops went up in price. Nothing happened except it just happened to go up.
Demand.
Supply and demand.
Right. Let's say on the block that you live, they decide to build a shul. So all of a sudden, the year's going to go. Your house is going to go up in value, no?
I'm just waiting for your conclusion. Some people say, "Oh, it's going to be so much noise and so many kindle," and just some people say it's not such a great idea. Others say, "Oh, now the shul is so the shulchani, it's going to go up." So there are two opinions how building a shul on the block affects your real estate. You're on the positive side.
Ribis is a type of shvach. It's a type of shvach, right? Yeah, it's a subcategory of shvach. Shvach is general appreciation. It can come across and it come about and now ribis, you understand, is a shvach the mamela. Ribis is something which is based on the contract that was made, whether or not it's going to be accrued quarterly, daily, at the end of the time of the payment, whatever it'll be, but that's something which comes automatically from the actual loan that took place months, years ago, whatever it would be.
If you're saying that, then here's
This is type of shvach the memela. Shvach the memela.
What you're just saying is, if the ribis is for the time of the contract, so we could make a case that it was something actual. It's not something potential. On day one, we said this $100 loan is going to be worth $110 in a year. So why can't we say, let's move one right off? It's self-explanatory that it's going up in value. We're saying it's a potential increase. No, we have a piece of paper. We have this time.
No, right. But it depends when. We're talking about ribis only. The interest or shvach or ribis that you're talking about is only after the father's death. So that means it's a future thing once we're talking about after the death.
No, we're saying the father left a piece of paper. The paper said, today it's worth $100, a year from now it's worth $110. To me that could be interpreted.
Depends when the shvach that we're talking about is not the shvach between when he wrote the loan and when he died. The shvach we're talking about is after he died and when it was finally the debt, or whatever you want to call it, the loan was paid back, the debt was paid back, the appreciation at the end. Not anything between.
I'm not saying anything between. I'm saying the father dies, okay, and he has an outstanding loan of $100. And in the contract of this loan it says, in 12 months it's due and it's $110. Why can't you say that's something is actual?
Let's look at the situation at this point. Now, Nachal HaMaisis, right? The loan was $100. The estate just collected $110. Just collected $110. Now, that's Sof Maisis. That's at the very end of the story. Now let's go back while the father was still alive. Okay? The loan was $100. Right? The debt that had to be paid back was $110. How much karka was meshubed to the hova, to the loan? $100 worth or $110 worth?
That's a good question. Okay. You could make a case that it was 110, the final payment, the payoff, or you could say it's also 100 and the other. No, I would be comfortable that Karka was $110 Meshuggah.
That's you could comfortably say that. To say it was only 100 would be a bit more difficult, but right,
You could.
you could.
Why did it go up $10?
That was because of ribbons.
And it was a contract every day, every week, every month, whatever.
And again, Fritz came to the father. Fritz was a good friend of the father. The father was a banker, and Fritz he lent out make private loans. And Fritz came to him. Fritz said, "I need $100 loan." He says, "Fine, you have to pay me back 110." Right now, the question could be: is it going to be a 6 month loan at whatever it's going to be? $2, $1.25 a month or something like that, or is it going to be payable at the end? That's all. Those are details. Details. But those details could be important in terms of whether there was a shibud karkos. Because like you could ask the question: when does the shibud karkos arrive? Meaning, the shibud karkos. If we're talking about a milva b'shtar, that the shibud karkos only exists if there's a written document of loan, right? So what does it say in the written document of loan? $100 was borrowed, right? And 110 will have to be paid back. But what is the shibud? Is the shibud on the principal or on the amount to be paid back?
The person who makes the loan, he wants to have a secure loan. He says, "Okay, I'm lending you 100, but I'm going to have a shibud on 110 because that's what I anticipate your final payment is." So you can make a very strong case that the shibud was on the total. Or you could say, otherwise, I'm more comfortable that he made it on the total, the principal and the interest. Like when a bank gives you a mortgage on a house and they default on the back, you can't pay, these things have happened in the past. So what does the bank say? We're going to take your house, it's a $50,000 mortgage, is it $20,000? I had a family member who was involved in a default, and the bank sued him for $70,000. He had a title, you charged too much, this and that, so they negotiated. But the deal was, we have a written contract, and that's what the banks in the 2008, 2009, when there was this real estate boom, they were very sloppy. They didn't really write all the pratim, and that got them in trouble. So the banks had a chiyuv of writing things exactly. This is the loan, this is the ribbons, this is what to do, and they didn't do that.
So you see, it's not so clear exactly what the
In other words, the banks had an acquire's responsibility of detailing the loan.
Sure.
Okay, so the loan has different pratim, different details.
Right. Okay, we're in the middle of Rashi. We'll have to continue this tomorrow, Mr.